look around you. Where you are right now, as you're watching this, look around your house. There are tools you have you're not using that can actually fetch you a whole lot of funds.
Forget about what people are saying. Don't listen to what people are saying. What people say about you or think about you is none of your business.
Many entrepreneurs want to build a business at the same time feed from the business. It cannot work. In Lagos,
but you just get to do something. Stop waiting for manna to fall from heaven.
Never you at any point think you have 100% strength. It's not possible. So as a leader, you focus on your strength 100%, then your weakness, you get someone to fill it in. Now, the person you are bringing in, ensure that the person's weakness is your strength.
You have to come with something to the table. So what are you coming with as a woman? What are you bringing? Is it your intellect? Is it your beauty? We all know that beauty doesn't help anybody. If not, I'll be where Dangote is today.
Please, if you are listening to me, don't try and sell what is not sellable if you don't have the funds to push it.
Thank you for connecting with Simeon Ononobi today. Live sessions hold every Tuesday and Friday at 5 p.m. Please turn on post notifications for live updates.
Hello, everyone. This is another lovely weekend that we're running to, and I have Chidinma finally. Chidinma is finally in the house. She's joined me in my studios this morning, and I tell you, it's been a journey. You get to hear from Chidinma. It's been a journey. Just like 4 days ago, I knew Chidinma. And today, Chidinma is sitting on top of a gigantic organization like DPO Group. So this is Connect with Simeon Ononobi, a show where we dissect things, where we are true to heart, where we tell what is happening to us both in the work environment, how to get jobs, what we should look out for when we're getting jobs. How to start a business, how to talk to investors, how to get funding, how to grow a business, how to treat our own staff and things like that. So this is a show where you learn a lot of things and you win a lot of goodies. We already have started mentoring 3 people in the cake business. That started from our first show, Daniel. Then I started mentoring them, and we're going to be supporting them. And funny enough, there are 3 ladies that got that gig, and now they're going to be starting their own cake business, and they're going to be understanding how to push themselves through. And they're going to be getting a lot of perks from us. So the same thing, we're going to be helping people also learn how to code. Hopefully by Tuesday we'll be releasing that too, and we'll get 3 people that can code, learn how to code within 12 weeks and become super expert coders and be able to build solutions for ourselves. So if you're joining in today, as usual, you can send in your comments, you can send in your questions. If you see the topic as something that's interesting to you, send in your questions. On Tuesday, we had Chude talk about the same topic, which is about growing a career from zero. Chude started as a core member and became the CEO of a multi-millionaire corporation. So today we have the female version of Chude, who is doing exceptionally well in the fintech space. So I'm going to give you a small hint about Chidinma. Chidinma started just like 4 years ago. I think I know. It was just 4 years ago when I met Chidinma at eTrans like that, and she was working as a manager in customer support, something like that, and client management. And we got talking, and I got very interested in this lady, and I just wanted to become friends with her. Today she's running DPO Group. Fun fact: DPO was one of the groups that I actually admired a lot. They are in the fintech space. They're doing a lot of wonderful stuff across Africa. They're acquiring companies left, right, center. Um, and they're huge. They're very, very huge company. And to see Chidinma today sit on that group as the country manager in Nigeria is awesome. So I decided, you're going to come and tell people how a female can do this, how how not to get scared, how ambitious to be as people. So a lot of people are going to be late to the program, but we will shoot out and get. Oh, I have Nathaniel already in the house. Nathaniel, you are a faithful follower of the show. Chikamji has joined too. These are my two favorite guests. In short, what did they come on the show themselves? Thank you for joining in. So, as usual, I'm going to say thank you to support from my company, Connected Analytics. They are the ones allowing me to do this. If they tell me to stop doing it, I have to stop because I don't pay my salaries. So, Connected Analytics is a company that helps businesses grow using data analytics and rewards. So you earn rewards as a customer whenever you buy products at any of the locations that are partners with Connected Analytics. We have a mobile app. You can download it from the Play Store or the iOS store, and just enjoy making cash while you're buying products. Tuesday, I'll be announcing something great from Connected Analytics, and a lot of you, everybody's going to benefit from it. So, welcome.
Thank you, today. You see, I suddenly started calling you today.
Yeah, I mean, it's so.
You suddenly named me female today, and I started calling you today in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, so I mean, it's good. Today is my very good friend, and funny enough, he was here last week. Thanks. So like I said, this is a show that we just tell the truth to heart. How did you, tell us your stories? You have like 10 minutes. Just tell us, being a core member, being a university grad, did you ever think that, hey, one day I will be on top of the world? I'll be running a group like DPO. I know it's like it's a dream, but I mean, just the starting block for you. So how did you do it? How did you? Where did you start from? Just take us through your journey. Where did you start from, and how did you end up where you are today?
So I started off my career actually not 4 years ago. We met 4 years ago, but I started a little before then. Officially, and I'll tell you why I said officially later. I started off my career in 2011. It's about 9 years ago today. So I started off almost immediately after youth corps. Youth service. I served in Jigawa State, where I was primarily deployed to teach in a secondary school. But way before all of that, there were a few things that actually really guided my journey. I would say most of them were consciousness of myself generally. As a growing young girl, there were a few things I already knew about myself. One, I always knew I would never survive as a full housewife. Like, I knew that, and even before anybody else. I knew that I needed to be in a career where I needed to talk a lot, because there were times when I just went on and on talking. And thirdly, I knew that I also loved numbers. So as a young girl, if you had asked me what I was going to be when I grew up, it started off with I was going to be a lawyer. And then when I found out my love for numbers, it became I want to be an accountant or an auditor specifically, actually, because I just liked how the auditor stuck with the numbers and made sense out of it. So I thought, okay, I'd like to be an auditor. And then it just continued that way. So interestingly, I got into the university and I was admitted to study mass communication at the beginning. But for some reason, after a few months, I switched to economics because, again, there was a love for talking, but I couldn't feel the numbers there. But I had to find a balance somewhere. So I decided, you know what, let's just do economics and save mass communication for later. But then again, It was university. There were still a lot of things that I didn't have figured out. I knew what I liked. I knew who I was, but I didn't exactly know where I would eventually find myself or where I fit in. And I didn't have a plan. So I actually wanted to chip in there that it's okay to not have a plan, because I didn't really have a plan. I just knew what I liked to do, right? And I knew what I would not do, but I didn't exactly know where or how. So I just forged on with that and I continued. So I graduated and found myself in the North, where I was teaching secondary school students economics and mathematics. So it was a continuation of something I loved, but it still didn't fill the gap. Long story short, I graduated. I finished NYSC as someone who had 3 jobs. So while I was serving, I was actually doing 3 jobs at the same time. I was working in a radio station where I was a presenter. That was actually feeding my talkative side. While I was teaching economics and maths, feeding my numbers side. And somehow I found myself also selling technology. And so from my background, my father used to be a computer scientist. So I kind of had some flair for computing right from young age. But again, it still did not align with anything I thought I was going to do. So I graduated, I finished NYSC and came back to Lagos, and it was from one thing to the other. I mean, long story short, my career started off in 2011, primarily when I was deployed to, but I had the opportunity, actually, it wasn't something I planned, it was just coincidence. And I found myself on a team of 10 that were deployed to run a Google pilot project at the time. For Nigeria, and it was called GNBO, Get Nigerian Businesses Online. Now, here's the twist to all of that. On the team of 10, I was the only female that was actually on that project. Now, that's not the only interesting thing. I was the only one of the 10 people who actually didn't have a degree or was not pursuing any degree in computer science. So it was the only female and the only one with 0 computer experience working on a project. Now, when I realized that it was going to be something better was when 2 months into the project, I was already interviewing to work with Google, right? And I was just one out of 2 people on a team of 10 with 0 experience in computing and 0 previous knowledge.
Hello. You seem to have lost Chidinma just as.
You're watching Connect with Simeon Ononobi. Stay tuned.
I'll try to get back Chidinma there. She was talking about how she had 0 knowledge, 0 computing experience, but she was on a Google team. She was being interviewed by Google. Okay, yeah, we've got to Chidinma back.
Okay, I think I lost you there for a second.
Yes,
I wasn't really sure what was going on.
Yes. So yes, you were telling us about your Google.
If you can let me know where exactly.
Being the only female on the Google team.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, the project ended, and I had to. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I interviewed, but I didn't get the job. The project ended, and I just had to turn in my report. We're asked all turn in our reports. So I did this report. At the time, there was a consulting company, or there was a Google partner that was assigned to manage or to coordinate the project. So I turned in my reports, like every other person. But instead, I received an email or reply to an email asking me to interview for the company. So apparently, from what I hear, I turned in my report on a Sunday. The CEO of the company, the Scasio, was in church when my report came in. According to him, he read my report in church. And while he was in church, he responded and said he really wanted to have a conversation with me. So technically, that's how my journey in technology and sales started. It wasn't planned. It wasn't anything I had in my to-dos or my objectives or my goal. In fact, I really didn't have anything. I just knew that I wanted to graduate and work in the bank, just like every other person. And I had a few specific banks in mind, but I didn't really know how to go about it or how I was going to get there. So I found, I met them, we had conversations, and that was it. I started with the business. So it was a startup at the time, and I was the first salesperson to be hired in the company. So yeah, I practically started my sales journey there. And the good thing is my love for numbers and my talkative self found a way in sales. I didn't really think about sales as a career while I was in the university, but hey, I got into it and I found that I could actually fulfill myself and fit into a place where two parts of my beings can actually coexist, right? So I started off working in the company, and then I literally grew from there. So the thing is, I was the first person to be hired. So there were a lot of things beyond just selling that fell on me, responsibilities that fell on me. And one of the high points of my career was actually ensuring that for each of those responsibilities, instead of making excuses, I always found a way to deliver results, right? Irrespective of the fact that those tasks were not directly related to my job. So I think that for starters, that's something that a lot of us don't do today. It's finding ourselves in a place, but building ourselves beyond that place, preparing ourselves. And you ask me how. The truth is, for every journey through my career, that's how, right? I mean, I'm a salesperson, but then again, I'm also learning to do marketing. I'm also exploring the possibility of customer support. I'm also trying to, and on the tech side, for as much as I can do, my clients or the people that I work with feel comfortable to discuss basic things with me before the experts can come in. And that's me putting an extra work to understand beyond just the products that I sell, functionalities of the product. Now, typically, that's not something you do if you really didn't want to go beyond where you are, right? So I think that the first thing is to identify who you are as a person. Now, find a place where you fit. It doesn't always work in that. I mean, everything I would say is how it's worked for me, but it doesn't always work that way. It's really about being a specialist, identify where you fit in, be a specialist in that place you fit in, but know a little bit about everything. And this is, I mean, when you and I met, I had just left a career in sales and I had moved to customer acquisition. I was doing something different. I was doing digital marketing, right? Now, I learned digital marketing as a salesperson. That's not your typical everyday stunt, right? So I learned the skill, the technique, the strategy, the business aspect of it while selling, right? It was an opportunity that I came about, and I jumped on it at the time. So I think that primarily it's okay to be a specialist. Identify who you are. Identify where you fit as a person. It's really important. Knowing who you are is the best way to tell where you can be happy or where you'll be okay. And then identify those things that help you explore more or explore who you are even better, for lack of a better word. I mean, it's okay to ask questions. I really like to talk about things from a Q&A standpoint because it helps me address direct needs or direct questions from people. So it's fine if there are questions and I can talk about them straight from that angle.
Yeah. I mean, so you heard Chidinma. She says she wants the questions to start rolling in. So if you have a question, please shoot at her. That's her style. We respect people's style here. She has the floor, so she decides what she wants. So she says she wants the questions to start rolling in. So please start rolling your questions and I'll start training towards her. You know. So yeah, Chidinma, so let me ask you the first question. The first question would be, at what point do you know that, you know, yes, I mean, there's favor, there is preparation. How do you know what to prepare towards? How do you know, okay, this is what I want to do? When did you say to yourself, let me learn everything? I don't know which one would pan out. So at what point did you decide that?
Okay, so when I started working with Descasio, I realized that beyond just loving sales as a profession, I also loved the technology space. So with every day of interacting with businesses and finding out the impact of technology to the overall growth and success of the business, I even love technology more. So at some point in the process, I decided that I wanted to be one of the best salespeople, but do it in the tech space, irrespective of what kind of tech is, but it has to be tech, right? So I streamlined my focus around technology. So it can be any kind of technology, software as a service, it can be mobile technology, it can be financial technology, it can be anything. but ensuring that I understood a lot or more about technology and how it can help businesses grow. That was my primary objective, or that was the point. It was exploring or being in the place of selling technology and understanding or realizing how much impact tech generally had on businesses, or the potential for businesses to actually grow with technology, that made me passionate about wanting to focus on selling technology products only. So I don't know if that answered your question, but yeah, it was at that point. I didn't have no plans for it. There was zero objective. But right at the moment, or right in the job, I discovered that I loved it and I just wanted to focus on it. So I started building myself around it, exposing myself to the various types of technology out there. I mean, I wouldn't go coding or developing or writing CSS scripts, maybe someday, but not today. But the ones, or the core business solutions that can help an average business go from being 10% productive to 70% to 60% to 100% productive. Those are the kinds of technology that I try every day to develop and expose myself to. And it kind of helps me. And the thing about it is, with every opportunity that came, I saw myself less as an arriver, but instead as a job seeker. So positioning myself that way, it helps me always want to know more. Because this is really it. I mean, it starts from ground zero, but you have to always build yourself up, right? And it's interesting how, like you said, in the last 4 years, I have grown from being a customer acquisition manager to a country manager. But I'll tell you the truth, it didn't happen overnight. Although I wasn't exactly sure of what steps, or I didn't exactly have all the steps aligned. But one thing I can say for sure is that I had myself prepared for the role. And this is what I mean by that. I mean, I was always a salesperson, but beyond being an expert at selling, part of what I also had to do was to understand every other aspect of running a core business. So it's operational, it's administrative, it's financial, it's marketing, it's on.
Well, we've lost Chidinma again. Oh, we're having these technical difficulties. Let me try and get her back online. Please start asking your questions. Chidinma is she's a bombshell. So please start asking your questions, and let's try and get her back. So she was saying, she had no plans. She just, wanted to just do things. She found herself in situations where she could grow herself. And, in growing herself, she decided she was going to do certain things. She found herself in, situations where she had to learn other things. And in learning other things, she became, who she is today. When we get her back, we'll be talking about how she went from zero to now actually employing. So I'm going to read a bit about DPO Group, where she works, before she joined. So DPO Group is one of the biggest, if not, largest payment companies in Africa. They've been acquiring a lot of companies so far. I have met the co-founder and current group CEO, Eran, far back in, I think, 2018, when they were doing acquisitions of so many companies. And this is a group that is really, really huge. Now, we're talking about millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars worth. And now Chidinma has joined this group as the country manager in Nigeria, meaning she's now started employing. From being an employer, she now employs people to try and take her journey further. So we'll try and get Chidinma back. Please post your questions if you have any, and we will try and get her back on the. Just stay tuned while I play some advertising.
look around you. Where you are right now, as you're watching this, look around your house. There are tools you have you're not using that can actually fetch you a whole lot of funds.
Forget about what people are saying. Don't listen to what people are saying. What people say about you or think about you is none of your business.
Many entrepreneurs want to build a business at the same time feed from the business. It cannot work. In Lagos,
but you just get to do something. Stop waiting for the manna to fall from heaven.
never you at any point think you have 100% strength. It's not possible. So as a leader, you focus on your strength 100%, then your weakness, you get someone to fill it in. Now, the person you are bringing in, ensure that the person's weakness is your strength.
You have to come with something to the table. So what are you coming with as a woman? What are you bringing? Is it your intellect? Is it your beauty? We all know that beauty doesn't help anybody. If not, I'll be where Dangote is today.
Please, if you are listening to me, don't try and sell what is not sellable if you don't have the funds to push it.
You're watching Connect with Simeon Ononobi. Stay tuned.
Yeah, we've got Chidinma back in the studio. Hopefully
Hi.
we don't lose anymore. Yeah,
Hopefully we don't. I'm not sure what happened like for 5 seconds there.
Yeah. So I'm going to take some questions. So you were advising on how to stay focused. You're advising on how to learn as much as you can, which prepares you for the future. You also said something before you went off. These were your words. It did not start. Yes, today I am country manager of DPO, but it did not start in one day. That's where you stopped. Yeah. So if you can take it from there.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. And then eventually, it's always the story. I mean, it's nothing different from the everyday story that we hear out there. I remember my early days. As a salesperson and working these clients or who my potential leads would be. And then growing to, I think that the difference between then and now is in how I had prepared myself and how that preparation has helped me identify and jump on opportunities faster. Something else I was going to point out is that one of the things that I learned or I decided to ensure is that in my experience, there are really two groups of people within the workplace, right? They're the pensioners, like I always call them, and they're the value drivers, right? And I will tell you why I could categorize them that way. So the pensioners are those who just get by every day. They come in, they do what needs to be done, and they get out. Only they do what they need to do to ensure that the paycheck comes in, to ensure that they don't get fired, and to ensure that they can keep their. It means that whatever needs to be done, if it means that we need to smile with the boss, if it means that we need to ensure that we're right on seat where we need to be, whatever needs to be done to ensure the paycheck doesn't go away, let's get it done. They're the other people who drive value within the organization. They're the ones who really go above and beyond. They understand what their expectations are, what the business expects from them. They deliver on that and try to go extra. Now, it's ensuring that you identify those category of people and determine where you want to sit. So in every organization, it's knowing that these two groups exist and identifying your spot. It's okay to be a pensioner. I mean, everybody doesn't have to deliver value. That's why it's the top 5% who will always fall in that place. There's a reason we call them premium products and we call the others there's a reason premium products are classified premium, right? Everybody doesn't have to be the value driver. It's okay to be the pensioner, But it's important that you tell yourself and identify where you sit on the scale. And all of that would be determined, and all of that is actually all of that is a factor of where you envision yourself eventually to be. I mean, some people are just fine with the everyday 9 5 9 5, and as long as the paycheck doesn't go away, we're fine with it. But there are other people who just want to go extra, and those are the people that eventually, when the opportunity comes, they always have an edge because there's extra value that they can deliver on the table.
Yeah, so someone just asked a question. I don't know if it's a question that relates to what you're saying, but how will you grow your, Olasupo Olusi said, how will you grow your digital business or business in a COVID-19 environment?
I wouldn't really sound as friendly as he would want me to sound, but all my career, I had preached digital transformation, and I had preached embracing forward-thinking solutions for business. Right? I wrote an article a few days ago where I talked about businesses that previously were digitally transformed and businesses that would begin to be transformed because or as a reaction to COVID-19. Those two businesses won't grow at the same pace, right? So your question is, how will you grow your digital business or business in a COVID-19 environment? There's a difference between a digital business and a business. So I need to understand which one it is exactly. But for a digital business, the assumption is that the digital business is a business that has already embraced technology and has embraced technology in the operational aspect of the business, from how leads are generated to how products are being sold, presentations are being conducted, to how support is delivered, to how customers are managed, to how relationships are developed, how accounting invoices are raised, from the littlest to the most important things. That's what you consider a digital, or I would consider a digital business. Those types of businesses are already positioned for the COVID-19 environment. Therefore, they just need to be able to adapt. However, the business that is not digital has to first begin to identify and explore digitization, which is the beginning of the journey, right? So it's now understanding or identifying the technology or the tech solutions that your business needs at this minute to thrive. And again, it would have been nicer, Olasupo, if you were specific with your questions, right? If your business was an e-com type business, or your business is a digital marketing type business, or your business is just a bakery by the roadside. I mean, there are different growth metrics, or there are different growth steps or growth stages for those types of businesses. And it would have been nicer if I understood what kind of business it is, and maybe with my little knowledge, I can throw more light on how. But I think it's first understanding what your business needs at this time. At this time, every business needs some form of technology. It can be from the simplest things as an instant messaging solution to the core things as a CRM or business intelligence tool. But right now, with COVID-19 around, every business needs to identify the tech solution that can work for them within their within the scale of their affordability, right? So it's okay to start with the smallest of things, but not losing scope of the larger value or the larger picture or the bigger picture, like I call it. I mean, if your business is a small scale business, I wouldn't say start looking for a CRM that would help you automate all your processes. You would find CRMs that are either free or paid, again, depending on the kinds of customers you deal with, right? If your customers are businesses, I mean, the kinds of solution that would apply would be different from if your customers were actual consumers, right? So for every type of business, the industry and the types of audience that you attend to will determine the level of technological adoption that you need to embrace. But until all those facts are known, I'll probably give you like a full scope, and it might not help you a lot. So if you're willing to be specific, maybe we can throw more light on this if Simeon gives us time to.
Yes. So I got a question, but the person wanted to be anonymous, so I had to retype the question myself.
Okay.
The question. So not this one. This one.
Okay. Okay, it says, how did you navigate being a woman and working with male bosses? Okay.
Me too movement. So
yeah, interestingly, I I really don't want to insinuate or assume that I know where this question is going, but I'm assuming that this question is with relates or with how it relates to working with the opposite gender and maybe the harassment side of it. I'm assuming that that's what this question is about.
Yes, obviously.
Okay, perhaps I'm not the exact right person to ask that question. Again, I would try to explain how. I've had to answer questions about how do you cope in a male-dominated industry like the fintech. That's a completely different story. But in this case, I think your question is more of how did you work with direct line managers who were male? So interestingly, or the great thing is, I wouldn't say I was lucky, but I would say that I started learning the adaptive metric or adaption from secondary school. I mean, if you schooled in any university in Nigeria and you're female, you already understand the risks, right? So one of the things that I learned to do early, I grew up being a tomboy. I mean, I grew up around men. So I think it was one of the things that was super easy for me. We're literally just two ladies in a family of like extended and all a lot of men. So I grew up around male folks than I did females. So it kind of rubbed off on me growing up. So I would categorize myself as one of those girls who grew up a tomboy. I would rather wear sneakers than maybe high heels or stuff like that. And I think it kind of helped me scale through, right? So again, in my career space, I was also lucky. I would say lucky because I've heard stories of female colleagues or female employees who get harassed every day. I was lucky to work with people who intellectually didn't have any place or any inkling for those types of behavior. It never came up. So I wouldn't exactly say that I coped. I mean, if you say cope means that it came up or you find a way around it. But for me, it never really came up because I was very lucky to work with people who mentally and psychologically and morally in every level, they had that level of discipline. And I think that generally that's also what I look out for in every interview that I attended. The first job for me was a job of opportunity and chance. But after that, I decided, or I also chose my bosses, right? So in the interview, it wasn't just you interviewing me to determine my competence. It was also me evaluating you on all levels to ensure that, or to determine that I can actually really work with you. And that was part of what I did. So it was evaluation. I wrote an article sometime about attending an interview. It's one of the technology companies in the world. Actually, they're a global technology firm. I would withhold names. Attending an interview, and I was asked 3 personal questions. The first question I was asked is, how old is your child? At the time, my daughter was, I think, 17 months. And I said 17 months. And the country manager, who was male at the time, looked at me and said, that means you will be going for maternity very soon. I laughed. And at first, I assumed, I thought, I tried to understand why he would think that my family life would have any negative impact, because I understood the question on how much of my job or how much I delivered. But then he didn't know me, so I didn't blame him so much. The second question is, he asked us, do you have a car? And I said, yes, I do have a car. And he goes, I don't mean your husband's car. I mean your car. So again, like those were different. At that minute, I could tell for sure that this is somebody who was chauvinistic. And for every reason, he had all the tendencies that harassment could pull off eventually. And at that point, I made up my mind that irrespective of how much you're willing to offer, the job is not for me. There were 3 personal questions. I mean, asking me if the car was mine and not my husband. And at that minute, I thought, hey, guy, I'm a woman. I'm married, but I can still own my own, right? I mean, I can still walk to a car shop and buy me a car. I don't need a man to do it. And then if you didn't understand that much as a man, then you're not a good role model for me to even be a boss. Because at that point, for every boss that I had to work with, there had to be some kind of influence. And I didn't see any influence And I wasn't exactly ready for the kind of influence I was going to get from that kind of boss. So at that minute, I walked away and I wasn't even going to respond to it. I just did a polite no email eventually, and that was it. So I think that I understand where some people would say Nigeria is hard. There are no many jobs out there. But if you see the signs and you decide to step in because you feel like you don't have a choice, you have already started setting yourself up for what's to come, whether or not you like it. So in terms of coping, I might not be the best person to answer the question about coping because I have almost always never given myself the opportunity or the chance to be involved. Plus, a lot of people who know me in the workplace consider me Tacha. I heard one of my colleagues recently say, if all the guys in the company ask everybody out, Chidinma, they will think of you as they will think that you claw them out if they did, so they wouldn't dare. So I think that there's also that part of me that will speak discipline even before you said it. And I know you know what I'm talking about, Simeon.
Definitely. I've been there. I've seen it. So thank you very much for the response. Nathaniel asked the question, what were the key factors or knowledge that helped you become exceptional in selling? And I'm going to double that question by saying, so you moved to DPO Group. Today, you are in charge of even hiring. You're in charge of, getting your own sales team together, your own budget, your own everything. As what do you look out for? What do you look out for when you're trying to hire, when you're trying to figure out who to work with? Coming from you being the one being interviewed to now you interview other people and trying to get people to join your group. So that's a two-part question. First, what were the key factors or knowledge that helped you become exceptional in selling? Number two, how do you choose who to join your team at DPO?
Okay, so I would start with answering Nathaniel's question. So what were the key factors or knowledge that helped me become exceptional in selling? I think that first, I would talk about the confidence later, but a lot of people who know me would know that I'm a super confident person. Even when I don't have it all figured out, I mean, my facial expression will tell you that this girl has her game all in one. But that's really not it. I think it's more of the passion for helping businesses. It's the value aspect, the value selling aspect. So I would drill this a little further. Every sales process entails a lot of things. There are 6 basic sales processes: leads generation, the actual presentations, and all of that. There are several factors that make up the sales process generally. It's also ensuring that you understand that, equip yourself as a person. I started off with zero knowledge of selling. I just knew that I really had good diction. I had able to pass them off, and you read them and want to talk to me. But that was just it. There was no technique, and I needed the technique. That's where seeking knowledge came to play. Another advantage I had was I worked with a partner or business that was a partner with global brands like Google. So I started off getting trainings from really experienced people. I was trained by experienced people, and I took those trainings and adapted it into the market. It's one thing to understand how sales work generally, which is what courses and trainings out there will help you understand. But it's something else to understand how to take a solution and build a value around it for every unique business, right? So in terms of the key factors for me was my really stopped. I didn't just want to know about the techniques or the processes involved in selling. I also wanted to understand every business uniquely. And I think that skill helped me today. I will talk about how that one helped me later. For every business that I interacted with, I wanted to understand, how does their industry work? It's an insurance company. The value of my solution or the value of this work for an FMCG, how it work for an FMCG is different from how it will work for a core tech company. So how do these businesses work? It's not just understanding my product, it's understanding the product, understanding the techniques or the general best practices for selling. Those ones are very general. The application of those best practices to every unique business will help them in the language that they understand. So it's wanting to take a tech solution, right, an emailing solution, and tell an insurance company how it will help them grow companies or customers' interest in their premium while referencing some of the solutions that they offer. I don't know. I mean, it's a broad, I mean, I could talk about this all day because it's something that I'm super passionate about talking about, but it's really about developing the sales techniques and the techniques for selling. Your knowledge of your product, which has to be like, I mean, I can't overemphasize that. If you don't know your product, then you're not ready. The knowledge of your product, you need to know your product inside out. Maybe not the tech aspect of every unique prospect or lead in their unique way. It's a lot of work, but if you can get through it, eventually you get through a lot of things. In my short career, I have worked in the digital marketing industry. I have worked in the fintech industry. I have worked in the cloud solution industry. I have worked in the technology, in the telecoms industry, in the mobile VAS space of the tech industry. And all of this knowledge, or for every of this opportunity, going through the interviews, the only things that got me through were the previous experiences, how I was able to interact with an interviewer or a core salesperson or the head of sales of a telecoms company and apply my knowledge from selling to a technology or a telecoms company to how I can help sell my solutions to the insurance firms and the other businesses that I have worked with in the past. And the only way I could do that was because I had an understanding of each of these businesses I had interacted with, not just as it relates to what I want to bring to the table, but the value that it brings to them generally. I don't know if I've made any kind of sense, but I'm really hoping that I have done. Then the second question is, what do I look out for when I hire today, or when I seek candidates today? Honestly, Simeon, I look out for potential. Nothing more, nothing less. And when I say potential, it's a lot of things in one. I'm not exact, except if the role is specifically for a specialist or an expert, then I'm looking for experience, right? For basic roles, I'm more interested in potential. I'm more interested in this guy or this lady sitting right across from me. How can he justify his use of tenses? How can he explain himself to me in a way that I understand him, even just for meeting him for the first time, right? How can he sell his experience or what he has done to help me create like a base point around it, to help me get a full picture of what he have done, even if they are very insignificant, right? It's understanding how much potential you have. If there's potential, then we can ride on it. We can train, we can help develop, we can grow you. But the biggest challenge is if there's no potential. And just like every role, I mean, I hire not only for sales, for every other role, just like every role is the potential to deliver on the job. So every role has specific skills that there are specific skills that are very crucial to the success of a candidate or an employee in any space. And if those skills are there, the rest is fine. But if those basic skills are not there, for instance, in sales, you need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to build up some level of confidence. I mean, you can't walk into an interview and not look me in the eye. There's a problem because I can't teach you how to do that, right? But if you can do that and you can express yourself in a way that I can understand, it doesn't have to be with big words or very large languages. It can be in the simplest of ways, but help me understand you and help me understand your journey. Help me identify those skills that you can bring to the table. Then I can work with the rest. So basically, to answer that question, the potential for me is the key. The potential is as it relates to each of the career or the skill area. So for customer service, the potential that I look out for is most likely going to be different from the potential that I look out for. It's okay if an accountant can't look me in the eye, but because you need to keep your eyes on the books for all I know, right? So it's fine. But if a salesperson can't look me in the eye, then there's a problem. Right. So I don't know if that makes any sense. But
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of
really,
sense. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, thank you, Chidinma. You've been awesome. You've been awesome. You've given us more than I expected, like way more than I expected. But knowing you, I know you're explosive. If you have any other questions, I see questions from Chikamji, but that's an investment question. So I would still, I mean, I would just put it out there, but basically I can answer this one because I am.
Yeah, no, that's your expertise, so I'll leave it to you.
He says, what steps do you take to attract an investor? I mean, it's the same way you would attract any other person. It's the same thing. It's always like Chidinma said, what's that potential of the business? What is that comfort zone? What tells me that this business will be something in future? What have you done? The little you've done that you can show me. What is it? So if you're baking bread, oh, you baked 10 bread, you sold 10 of them, you know, so now you want to be able to sell 100 or 1,000. That is what, you know, the investor is looking for. Can you do this? Who is the person? Are you trustworthy and stuff like that? So there are a lot of things that you look out for, but majorly it is to show that you can do it. So two major things I tell people is, one, build yourself and make sure that you're trustworthy to be able to handle a business. Number two, make sure you have traction. So use the small thing you have. Don't hold an iPhone and you're looking to raise 1 million naira. You're already holding an iPhone. Go and sell the iPhone now so that you can at least invest in the business. So these are the things that you look out for.
Yes.
And get that done.
Okay. Something else came to mind though about the question about the questions on factors and knowledge for sales. Something I forgot to mention is actually the numbers side. To succeed as a salesperson, you need to be analytical to a very good extent. Analytical meaning that you need to understand the numbers and how they impact. Because for every sales journey, for every milestone you cross, right? The interesting thing about sales and other careers is nobody would walk into an interview and talk to you just theoretically. People want to be able to understand your understanding of your numbers. What were your KPIs? What were your deliverables? What did you achieve? How did you achieve it? Being able to tie those around, because sales is basically a numbers game. I mean, it's fine to be all dap and look nice, but if you can't translate all of that in numbers, then it's going to be a challenge. So it's understanding your numbers. Be very, very analytical to the extent that you can track. So for every little success, every little success you achieve, have a proper tracker for it. For instance, you helped a particular company reduce costs by 2%, 5%, 1%. 1% can actually be 25 naira. But that 1% is a trackable number that can help you justify how much of impact you have made to the company you worked with and the company you delivered value to.
Wow.
So it's a numbers game and you need to understand and track your numbers.
Wow. Thank you very, very, very much. Guys, Chidinma is almost out of here. I want to keep her for the next 5 minutes. So please roll in your questions. I'm going to take a small commercial, then I will be back.
You're watching Connect with Simeon Ononobi. Stay tuned.
Yeah, so I have one last question, Chidinma.
All right.
So you're now country manager. What is the next step? What are you looking out for? Okay, so when you started, you said you didn't really have a plan. There was no plan. There was nothing. You're moving with the. You're moving with the tide. So now you're a country manager. Are you going Pan-African? Are you going to, head an African company at this point? And okay, you could actually just tell us about your company. Tell us, in a short sentence, just about DPO and what you do at DPO. Then tell us what's your next move.
Okay, so DPO is short. I mean, in Nigeria, DPO means a lot of things to different people, but in our context, it means direct pay online. So DPO is a fintech company. We're primarily a payment solutions provider. Payment solutions, primarily online payments. So we're more focused in the web payment space than we are on the offline space. So you would consider us, or you think about us as the web payment provider company. We're Pan-African with presence in about 22 countries currently and growing. Our core areas, or we have our core niche within specific industries that we focus on. And then we've been delivering service for a little about 12, 13 years now. In terms of generally what we do, we help businesses across the world, irrespective of where they are, collect payments from multiple channels, irrespective of what channel or what platform. So I always say that we're a multi-channel, multi-platform payments, online payment solutions provider. And we're more focused on businesses. So we're a B2B solutions provider and not necessarily a B2C platform. So for every kind of business that is interested in accepting any kind of payment, one of the challenges that we have in Africa is primarily being able to accept payments beyond our location or beyond our locality. The solution that DPO ensures to bring is to help bridge that gap, to help a business in Nigeria trade effectively with a business in Korea and get paid, irrespective of what currency they want to be paid in, right? And vice versa. So it's empowering businesses to go across the border or to go beyond their border, beyond their locality, to trade and get paid, irrespective of what currency, what channel, or what platform that the supplier or the customers want to pay with.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So what's next? 1 minute. What's next for you?
What's next?
Fingers crossed. Okay. Thank you, Chidinma, for coming. You've made my day of a lot of my listeners and viewers. It's still Connect with Simeon Ononobi, and we keep doing it. We keep bringing great minds, great guys. Chidinma is a member of the tribe, so if you want to reach out to her, please send me an email and I'll connect you. Send me an email, connect@simeon@gmail.com, and I'll connect you with Chidinma. If you have more questions that she couldn't handle right now, please shoot me an email and she will definitely respond. I will make sure I track her down and I'll get her to respond. Thank you, Chidinma, for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
We always set up our guests, and I'm going to set you up right now. So Chidinma, I know you're a very, very busy person. I can't tell you this, but I know you're a very, very busy person. And what we do is, because there are so many people out there, there's so many females out there, and we want to take at least 1 or 2 females to be under your wings. At least let them to get access to you, ask you questions and get mentorship whenever they are looking for a job or do whatever. So I would ask and crave your indulgence to help us with at least 2 spots for 2 females that we can send your way and that can learn from you, learn from the master's feet, as we say it. So I hope it's not putting a gun to your head, but I am putting a gun to your head right now. So and you have to say yes.
I really don't mind that. I always say that knowledge has to transition, right, from one place to the other. So I mean, it's okay. And one of the courses that I'm super dedicated to is women empowerment and child education. So it's fine as long as the female gender is concerned and the ladies want to grow, right? That's usually like the condition. I'm always ready and happy to help.
Very, very much. Thank you. We really love you. We appreciate you. We appreciate the time. Thank you. I know it was short. It was such a short time, and I bombarded you, and I made sure you came, and I blackmailed you, and I did everything.
Yes, you blackmailed me.
And thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So that was Chidinma. Thank you. that was Chidinma with us, and she has helped us with a lot of things. So 2 slots for more mentorship. Make sure you take that slot. Send me an email at connect with Simeon@gmail.com, and it will get to Chidinma, and we'll get her 2 slots of people. And you might even be able to join DPO to learn. So thank you very much. God bless you for watching. Till we meet on Tuesday next week, where we'll be talking to someone special, someone very, very special. Please join in and let's connect again.
Look around you, where you are right now. As you're watching this, look around your house. There are tools you have you're not using that can actually fetch you a whole lot of funds.
Forget about what people are saying. Don't listen to what people are saying. What people say about you or think about you is none of your business.
Many entrepreneurs want to build a business at the same time feed from the business. It cannot work. In Lagos,
but you just get to do something. Stop waiting for manna to fall from heaven.
never you at any point think you have 100% strength. It's not possible. So as a leader, you focus on your strength 100%, then your weakness, you get someone to fill it in. Now, the person you are bringing in, ensure that the person's weakness is your strength.
You have to come with something to the table. So what are you coming with as a woman? What are you bringing? Is it your intellect? Is it your beauty? We all know that beauty doesn't help anybody. If not, I'll be where Dangote is today.
Please, if you are listening to me, don't try and sell what is not sellable if you don't have the funds to push it.
Thank you for connecting with Simeon Ononobi today. Live sessions hold every Tuesday and Friday at 5 p.m. Please turn on post notifications for live updates.